love created me like itself. On the surface, this lecture does not seem complex at all. It seems very obvious, seems very simple. Well, of course, okay, right? To say what God is, or the attributes and characteristics of what God is, are all these beautiful and lovely things. And yet there's lines and words in this about that you are God's love, and the Son of God looks to you for its salvation. There's a whole lot of different variations in which this is actually kind of mixing up almost theories and ideas that it has previously discussed in a fashion where it's making it actually talking about something that you might not even understand. And so we want to actually get into that position. We want to not know what attributes of God we really are talking about. So while we think we know, yes, in a way, this is using the ego to undermine itself. Okay, so, oh yes, God is lovely, God is beautiful, God is all the wonderful things, God is only good, God is nothing wrong with any of that. But the direction and judgment in which the ego makes, the discernment between what is right and what is wrong, what is good and holy and bad and right and wrong and evil and everything, it has to be able to judge in order to do so. So the salvation in which the Son of God would be looking to you for, and yet you are love, and it's not saying that the Son of God is love, so it gets actually a little confusing. But in fact, what the Son of God is God's love. So it is, even as if we were to use this idea of self, the love of God is God's self. So you are the experiencer and the explorer of all reality for God. So that's what you are. So in the sense of going into this world, as A Course in Miracles is really about, and to come out of it, the salvation is about you relinquishing judgment about what God is. That's really what this is about. So while you think you know what God is, we have to get all of those on the table. Love created me like this, like itself. Love created me loving. Joy created me joyful. Peace created me peaceful. All these beautiful, wonderful things. But when you really get down to it, that the fact that you are a part of the definition of what God makes of itself. And definition, if you've heard anything I've been saying, involves judgment. To define something is to exclude, that's the word, I was going to say excommunicate, exclude something else. So God defining itself is not talking about God defining itself, something that you're not. It's actually about you defining yourself and keeping you in a prison, say the opposite of salvation. That you have made definitions and defined yourself to be only the lovely good things. And yet you made these ideas of yourself that you are are these bad things, terrible things. And yet sometimes you even say, I'm good, sometimes I'm bad, sometimes I got this, I got an elbow of evil, but I got, you got all sorts of mixed up. You're everything, right? It's kind of crazy. But what this course, this lesson particularly, is about the fact that in order to discover yourself, you have to get out of definitions. So you almost need to read it again and listen to it again or whatever, in a fashion that is trying to see that this is saying to salvation is to get out and beyond definitions. And that the idea of God is actually what you have. You have an idea of God. What God is and what God defines itself as, right, is in a step like, this is like, you have to make this up, right? Oh, what does God define himself as? Oh, God is lovely. Oh, God is beautiful. God is wonderful. Where is this coming from? How do you know these things about God? Because you have an idea God is only the good things. And yet, you're sitting here literally as the center of the universe saying God is good and God is bad, which means you're quite literally saying you are really screwing things up and making things better. You're good and you're evil. These are the definitions in which God has of himself. You are quite literally a part of what God defines itself as. You have this whole part, this whole role, this whole journey. And so even just for a second, that self in there might be in there. It's got to be in there. Love created me like itself. So the idea of love and that self has got to be in there somewhere, right? So this is a real serious and exploratory journey of finding yourself, discovering what you are. So yeah, you were kind of, just creating realities, just kind of throwing every thought out there, just like, yeah, let's do this, yeah, that, yes, do this and that, and that. It's all over the place. Yeah, you come to this whole, say, conclusion of this moment right now. And you see your whole past has always been in the definitions of what you have in your world right now. And you don't realize that everything has been by the order of your definitions. You can't see outside of your definitions. These are literally what's shaping your world. It is literally what's peopling and making up everything around you. These are judgments. Judgments of what is black and white, what is good and bad, what is hard and soft, what is round and circle, square, whatever. You have ideas that these things are different. You can't see the world as it actually is because you have definitions of God as God is not. So this specific lesson seems kind of like affirmations, trying to, I'm gonna remember that I'm love. And it seems very on the surface, if you take this on the surface and do this lesson just very simply, then yeah, you think it's just saying, oh yes, I'm love. And so many people come from lessons such as this and completely distort what A Course in Miracles is about, in a sense about good and evil again. Oh, it's just the good against the evil. And that's a big misunderstanding, as if there actually is evil. And I say that in the same way as if there actually is good. These are just ideas that you have about what you like and dislike, what you crave and avert in the ideas and symbolisms you have of your world.